Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Call of Duty World War II video. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys some tips on how to play better in Call of Duty World War II and how to become a god at this game. Now, this is sort of like a series that I've been doing over on my Fortnite channel and people have really been enjoying it. So I figured why not do it over here, but for Call of Duty. By the way, my Fortnite channel, if you're not already subscribed, link for that is down in the description. Go over there and check that out if you do play Fortnite. But I figured why not do it for Call of Duty as well. And in today's video, it's going to be sort of the first episode. It's been a while since I've done a tip video, so I'm going to cover some general stuff in this video on stuff that you need to focus on to get better at this game, because honestly this is a unique Call of Duty game. Not just the fact that it's boots on the ground, we haven't had boots on the ground for a while, but the fact that the maps and the kill streaks are very different in this game than they have been in previous CODs, and that's, you know, some of the stuff I'm going to touch on in today's video. If you guys have any questions, anything you want me to talk about in a future episode of how to get better at Call of Duty, leave it down in the comment section down below. Also smack a like on this thing. That would be absolutely amazing if we could hit 372 likes. That'll be the goal. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and not already subscribed, and let's talk about it. Now, the first tip that I'm going to talk about is finding your playstyle and playing according to the game. Now, what I mean by that is this game, you have to understand that the maps are usually three lane traditional. This game is a boots on the ground game, but the main thing I mean behind that is that kill streaks in this game are fairly weak, and the best kill streak setups usually revolve around mid-level streaks, glide bomb, and stuff like that you're going to want to go through and cycle through. You know, traditional big, or not big streaks, but the bottom three streaks like I'm running in this game, glide bomb, fighter pilot, UAV. Cycling through those is a way to get a lot of kills. This game doesn't fit well to a playstyle of a player that would like to camp and go for big streaks. While that playstyle would make you, you know, super high kills and super high KD player in Black Ops 2, even Black Ops 3 maybe, and definitely like Modern Warfare 2. This game, I think, to be a good player, you have to find that playstyle which is sort of not really rushing overall, but strategically moving aggressively around the map. And this game does favor gun battles and players who are good at gun fights. So that's one thing you have to focus on. And the way to get better at that is to take on more gunfights and put yourself at an advantage in each gunfight situation. You want to make sure that the majority of fights, and I mean the large majority of your fights, you have the advantage at, because Call of Duty is sort of a game that, of course, it takes a lot of skill, but most of the skill doesn't come from your general aim. It's sort of a twitch shooter. Most of the skill comes from your positioning, and that is the major thing that I would work on. Make sure that you have more cover than the enemies, you are ready for the gunfight before the enemies, and you have positioning on them. And the first tip I can give for that, or probably the most important tip, is aiming down sights around corners. Anytime you're going around a corner, and I've said this for years on my channel, because I generally think it's the most important tip, and one that can literally instantly change your game on this on Call of Duty. Aim down sights around every single corner where you think a potential enemy could be. This will give you an advantage when they do run through. You're going to be already aimed down sights, and it will reduce the time to shoot and kill them, because they're going to have to start their aim down sight and then shoot, and you're already on them, and you'll have that advantage. Those millisecond advantages or small advantages are huge in a game like this where you die so fast, and that's the aiming down sights around corners. Positioning and having the advantage over your enemies is the way to do it in this game, because this game isn't focused more around camping, it's more around strategically moving around the map. How to have an advantage over your enemies: the number one way is a head glitch. Obviously a head glitch, like right there in that gunfight, I'm behind the barrels, they're out in the open, I have the advantage there. Number two is just to get the drop on them. Maybe you have a UAV, maybe you hear them coming, or you're aimed down sights and ready for them. That's definitely a way to get an advantage. And number three would be to flank and reposition yourself, which what I mean by that is, most gunfights you want to be shooting the enemies in the side or in the back. You don't want to be facing them one-on-one, because of course if you're shooting them in the side or the back, they literally have no chance to shoot back at you, and that's why you're going to want to take most gunfights on like that. So those are the tips I would say around that. My next tip here is to stay with the meta. Keep up with the meta, which is complicated because this game has shifted metas more than any other Call of Duty game. And what I mean by that is the best guns are always shifting, and even for me, a YouTuber, it's sort of hard to keep track of and keep up with because of the amount of patch updates we've had, new guns coming in. Basically, make sure that you're staying on point. I usually make around every 3 weeks to a month a top 5 guns video, and while some of those guns have traditionally remained the same, the bar has always been good, the PPSH has always been good, You know, mainly those guns. The MP40 is making its way up. You know, the PPSH and the BAR are probably the two ones that have stayed the strongest since day one. Pretty much all the other guns have gone up and down. Type 100 at one point was up near the bottom of the meta, then it came back near the top. Same with the Thompson. MP40 was on its rise for a while. The FG42 has literally gone from hero to zero, from zero to hero multiple times. So keeping up with the meta, understanding patch notes, you know, I make a patch every single time, and understanding what the top 5 guns are in a certain situation and how class setups change. This is one of the most constant updating games, and keeping up with the meta, while it's not the biggest and most important tip, it's something that if you do, most casual players don't do it. So if you do it, you're going to have the advantage over them just off the rip, as well as having good class setups. And I think what I'm going to do, because of how much they've changed the divisions and the class setups in this game, I want to do, and let me know if you guys are interested in this in the comment section down below, but back in Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare, I had a very popular series on my channel that everyone seemed to love called How to Make Guns Overpowered. I'm basically talk about the gun, talk about my favorite, I guess you could say, variant of it. I would talk about the best class setup for it, how to use that gun, how to play with that gun, and that was one that, you know, I really did enjoy, and I feel like I could do that series for this game as well, because it was one that I would usually run in the summer of each of the games once all these patches had come out, because class setups, of course, I made them at the beginning of this game, but they are different now. So I think that's what I'm going to be doing, and let me know if you guys want to see that and some guns that you guys want to see. I'm thinking about, you know, doing STG and, you know, a bunch of different guns, but that's what I would say there. Next tip here on how to be a god at Call of Duty is learning the spawns and learning how to manipulate them. Now, the major key to this is, like everyone says, sure, you can watch videos, sure, you can listen to tips, but the best way to get better at the game, of course, is to play the game a lot, but not just play it blindly. There's a difference between playing to learn and get better and do well, and playing just to play. You know what I mean there? So when you play the game, analyzing your mistakes, understanding spawns, understanding why you lost gunfights is honestly the best way to get better at anything. A lot of people have a lot of different problems, and of course I can't, you know, sit here all day and dissect every single person's gameplay. I have problems with my own gameplay as well. Certain players either are, you know, push when they're weak. Maybe they use the wrong gun for different maps. Maybe they use a perk that gives them no, you know, gives them no help in that game. There's different things that each person does. Analyzing your mistakes. Every time you lose a gunfight, you can analyze it. Don't, like, if you got overrun by too many enemies, you know, some people would just say, hey, I got overrun, unlucky. Or if you want to get better, analyze that mistake, you could say, hey, my positioning was off there, I pushed too far ahead of my teammates and it ended up costing me. Analyzing your mistakes is number one, the best way to get better at any game, and it is with Call of Duty as well, because this is such a fast-paced game. You're making dozens of mistakes every single game, even the top players are, and analyzing those and reducing the amount, not eliminating mistakes, because that's literally impossible. Even the best players have huge mistakes, but reducing that amount will make you a better player. And as far as learning spawns, that comes with playtime on certain maps in certain game modes. The reason why I understand domination and the spawn points is because I play on these same maps domination over and over and over and over again. And that's why I usually stick to one game mode in Call of Duty. Domination, of course, I do TDM sometimes as well. That's why you'll see people who understand game modes, they get to understand, number one, the spawns, which is very important. Spawns are, you know, you have the same general spawn points on each map, but they work differently based on the flags they have in Domination. They're going to work differently in CTF. They're going to work differently in TDM. So by playing that over and over and over and over again, you'll start to understand that. And that's why you see people get better as the game goes on, better gameplays, compared to the day one where, you know, everyone didn't really know the spawns. And you're also going to start to understand rush routes that work good for you and the way you like to play and your class setup, and common rush routes that the enemies take. For example, here on Ardennes Forest, when they spawn at the back, I know they run through that right side, and they run most likely to the far right there to push B instead of through the cave. That's just statistics. That's what most people would do. The only reason that I know that is from countless hours of taking that situation on over and over and over again. And so I know that if I see they're spawning back there, maybe on the UAV, I know that statistically my odds are better if I pre-aim that right side instead of pre-aiming the left. And that's definitely what I would say as far as a tip to do with that. That's what I would say as far as Ardennes this forest, and you know, understanding those different spawn points, understanding that when multiple people are pushed up into their spawn, they can't spawn on you, so they're going to flip. So you don't have to wait to know that info. If you see where your teammates are, and paying attention to the mini map is a key, because you don't just get intel off of where they are at the mini map. You can get intel off of where you and your teammates are as well, and use that intel to be able to know where the enemies are, because where your teammates are either means that they're right there or they're not there, and they're spawning on the other side of the map to where the bunch of your teammates are. So that's some tips I could give you guys for that, as far as all that sort of stuff goes. If you guys could drop a like on this video, I'd really appreciate that. Thanks for watching, guys. Smack that like button and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Let me know any questions you guys have down in the comment section down below. And that's about it, guys. Have a great night, and I'm out. Peace.